Hi, this is Mahesh Ravi, and in this video, I just wanted to share a couple of my favorite graphic design styles. So, these are my personal favorites, which means that I've been using these styles a lot in my designs. So, there might not be too many established graphic design styles in there or movements that I'm going to talk about. These are my personal, repetitions or styles that I'm comfortable with, and I'll walk you through that. So, let's get started with it. The first style that I want to talk about is microtype. So in a lot of my designs, I use or I like using very small typography sizes. So there is of course a hierarchy in them, but I prefer using smaller typeface sizes. So whatever is considered to be norm, I might actually go two-step down that size and I might make my type. So this gives a very unique look to my design, and also it takes a little bit of active engagement from the user when they are trying to go through these designs, which is sometimes I would require that. I would require more attention from the user. So I use that a lot in my design. And you can see a lot of these examples here that you see on the screen. I use this technique. There's no particular preference for me on which typeface I use for it. I sometimes use mono typefaces, which actually works really well because it is very legible even at smaller scales. I use serifs and I use sans serifs. In the screen itself, you can see examples of all the three in micro typography. I have used serif in the first one here. I have used a mono and I have used a sans serif right here. So this is my micro typography style, and you might be able to see a lot of this in a lot of designs that I do, especially design workouts. Another style, again, I don't know whether what's the other name I would like to call it. It's broken design. So broken design is something where I intentionally will break an element inside my design to give it an unfinished look, an incomplete look. This might be used when I need an extra tension. I want to emphasis on certain elements, or I want people to get distracted from the mundanity of norms. Right. So if you look at a lot of these designs in this section, you can see that there are so many broken elements in here. This could be done with images. This could be done with textures. This could be done with typography. The whole idea is basically to give emphasis to something. So here itself, you can see that in this particular, the two designs that you see here, in this one, I have used these imperfections in the typography here itself, that it doesn't look like it's perfect. The paint is missing from a lot of areas. So your eye will go there twice to basically look at what is happening there. Another example is this, where I've achieved, I've broken this particular design by overprinting on that to give a feeling of something is broken there. So it's the title itself is called Breaking the Leg, and you are being attracted to that particular element that I'm using here. So it can be, as I was saying earlier, it can be done with a composition where a photograph is actually broken and you feel that it's incomplete, or the text that is actually broken where elements are not fully written, or it's just a shadow. So this is another style that I use, a broken design style. So another uh, technique that I use in a lot of design is that I will add one layer of meaning into it. It's going to be a very discrete layer, will be very subtle. So if people are thinking twice, it might actually make sense to them. So when I want the design to be looked at twice, or every time when they're coming to the design, it tells two different stories, that's when I use them. This is not an intentional thing. Sometimes it comes out like that. So if you look at these designs in here, um, these are done with a hidden meaning in it. When I'm saying hidden, it's just one layer of story that's not so deep, buried inside or anything like that. It's just one layer inside. So you can see this is a design manifesto, and it's simplify, solve, and sustain. So three different words that I wanted to actually mention, but I've written that in a couple of different ways here. So simplify, when the type was difficult to read, so that was simplified. An equation with a plus sign was solved here, and something that's sustained. So the typography is sort of like repeating, it's sustaining, it's going beyond the design, right? It just goes on. So that's a hidden meaning that I wanted to add here. If you look at this particular poster, which was done for a design workshop, where a lot of this typography that is written here is broken, right? It's hidden, it's destroyed. I mean, people cannot read it properly. But the reason, basically, or the main reason for doing that is that um, a lot of these design students might have learned design, but and they might have like vague ideas of what they are learning, but it's not complete. None of these are complete. um, and this workshop will actually take you in the right direction. So this is the only thing which is actually clear in here, that move in the right direction. Everything else, you might get ideas like, so there's portfolio, there is modifications, there is refined thinking or a boot camp of design. You might get that idea, but it's not clear, it's not legible, it's not out there, right? So that's a hidden thing. Like, attending this workshop will actually make you read all of this and process everything perfectly. Now, another example that I want to show here in this hidden meaning thing is that um, this particular poster was for a dating app. So you can see the way that elements are used in there, the glass and somebody hiding behind the glass. So it sort of indicates security and privacy. And at the same time, the random sticker on top of it, it says that once you peel that sticker, it will be the right person behind it. It gives that puzzle thing that, this is something that you have to peel to see the person. That's the outer layer, and you peel it and you see the real person out there. So subtle things, simple things, but that's something that I do in a lot of these designs. Now, another thing that I want to say is about colors. I use a lot of reds and blue in my design. I really like the different variants of that. So if you look at this, a lot of my designs actually uses a lot of like this bright red right now, in contrast with white. Um, so I like that pairing of red working against white, the contrast that it creates. And the similar thing is where I work with blue and white, right? Again, it's not blue and red in contrast, but it's blue, white, red, and white. So that's how it works, and I really like this combination. So I'm not sure why, like, why am I affected, or why am not, why I'm really inclined to this, but the messages, the tones that it actually conveys here, right? There is some sort of entertainment vibe to red. There is um, a lot of importance or significance which is conveyed in here, where blue, I use it when the things are a lot more casual and positive. So there is a meaning that I try to create by myself in these designs, but as long as color palette is concerned, I use that. Now, cinematism is something where a lot of the frames that I use, imagery is really important for me in design, and a lot of these frames that I use are inspired by classic cinematic shots. So if you look at all these designs that I've been doing, all these shots that you see here are inspired or variants of classic cinematic shots. So I would have seen this in some films. I would have captured that screenshot, and I might be using that to generate an image um, for my design. So you might be able to see or recognize several shots, very famous shots that you have seen in movies. Not exactly like this, but I'm talking about the form. I'm talking about people's the poses that they do, the backgrounds that they do, the color tones that they use, and all that. And you can see that in a lot of this. This is actually from Kurosawa's Ran, and the background is different. The costume of the actor is different. The posture is different. Everything is different, but the composition is sort of the same. On the center of the frame, a person is standing helpless. Um, and that frame, the composition, inspired me to generate this image in the same form. So cinematism is something that I use a lot in my design. Now, transmedia is another technique that you might actually see a lot in my designs. That is where I combine different techniques of design to create one product. So if you look at these designs in here, you can see that a lot of these techniques are not done in computers. So I would have used, so for this example, it was a real print where the same paper was used to reprint the text over and over again when the ink was running out, and slightly offsetting the paper every time. Or this one, this particular title was printed on a regular paper, then immersed on water, and it was photographed. So the distortion was captured from an analog effect and then was used to create this user manual here. All these designs that you see here is actually a result of a real imagery or real work. And I have used that in my design. So that's something that you will frequently stumble upon on this on my design pages. So I hope this actually makes sense to you. And I know that this is not scientific. This is not theoretical. It's just purely my philosophy. And I hope you could learn a couple of things from this. And if you have any questions regarding any of this, please do talk to me, and I will be there to help you out. I'll see you with another interesting video soon. Till then, bye.